Biden focused heavily on the traditional definition of infrastructure: roads, bridges, airports, all that stuff. These days, as we know, the definition of that word is under assault. Infrastructure can mean a bridge, or apparently a babysitter, or mental health care, or community college. Who knows? For now, let's just stick to the normal definition. Today, Biden made his sales pitch for a much-needed facelift for the country. Ironically, he tried to sell the promise of new jobs in a place which, frankly, has the exact opposite problem. Republicans in Wisconsin say their state is reeling from too many job openings they can't fill, thanks to a federal unemployment policy that's keeping many blue-collar workers at home on the couch, soaking up free money from the government rather than work all day to earn about the same amount. And who can blame them? Regardless, here was the president today.
I know that neither the Democrats nor Republicans get everything they want in this agreement. It's not all that I propose, but that's what our economy is all about. That's what it means to compromise and reach consensus, and that's what in the heart of every democracy. This is a generational investment to modernize our infrastructure, creating millions of good-paying jobs. And that's not coming from me, that's coming from Wall Street.
While this bill is technically bipartisan, the Republicans who negotiated this deal can best be described as, of course, the rhinos, the same big government Republicans Trump has been trying to oust for years. And even still, last week Biden threatened to not sign this bill unless a Democrat spending companion bill was included in tandem with the compromise infrastructure bill. The White House, of course, you remember, they scrambled to walk that back, leaving traditional infrastructure to be passed now on its own merits, as it should be. But putting his support, Biden did, behind additional spending in a reconciliation plan that holds, of course, all those goodies. Their so-called human infrastructure, the new catchphrase: more money for home care, child care, climate change, community college for everybody, you name it. And today, Biden did reiterate the push for all that.
As we bring home key parts of my American Jobs Plan, I'm going to make the case, and I've told this to the negotiators. I'm going to continue to make the case that critical investments are still needed.
Well, the best part of all of this has been watching this complete redefining of infrastructure, of course. To be fair, politicians on both sides of the aisle have some pretty shameless moments. But nobody, it would appear, thinks the American people are dumber and more gullible than a modern Democrat on Capitol Hill. I mean, these are the people that are right now trying to convince America that Republicans are the party of defunding the police. This is their latest mission. I mean, they're aggressive. We'll give them that. Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs, watching the ever-expanding definition of infrastructure, tweeted out, "Infrastructure to Democrats is a 5-lane highway to socialism." He's exactly right. But back to this country's jobs problem for a moment. Perhaps the last thing we actually need right now is more government jobs from Joe Biden. It's quite incredible to watch, really. The United States have private sector jobs that it cannot fill thanks to a government aid package. It's a perfect display of the problems that come when government is too involved, when government is too big, too much in the way. It's a great lesson to learn, and today's Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson tweeted out what Biden needs to learn and acknowledge today is that Wisconsin employers are finding it almost impossible to hire the workers they need because federal unemployment benefits provide an enormous incentive not to work. Another liberal policy. Companies like Wisconsin's Ariensco are offering $2,000 hiring bonuses. Can you imagine? Here's the CEO in a recent interview.
We're actually competing with the government for work. We're competing for that same job and at wages that are something north of $17 an hour to stay home, with benefits, with housing help, with all kinds of support. The safety net is quite high.
Today, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki pandered very hard to the radical left, which is responsible for problems like he was just talking about. She said Bernie is going to come along with another massive bill right behind the infrastructure bill, and it's going to be rammed through via reconciliation. Take a listen.
The president made clear that he is going to work his heart out, getting both bills across the finish line, and that's what he's going to do, and work closely with leaders in Congress to get that done. The president sees this bipartisan package on climate as a down payment. It has a number of key important priorities for anybody who is focused on addressing the climate crisis.
So Bernie Sanders is looking at a $6 trillion bill. You can't make it up. And why not? We can always just print more money in this country. It's easy to do. We seem to do it all the time. And with all that spending, of course, there certainly won't be a dime for securing the southern border, a problem the American people are waking up to as the media has, of course, finally been forced to cover it. Took them long enough. A recent Harvard-Harris poll, this is actually very impressive to me, shows an overwhelming 80% of voters say illegal immigration is a serious issue and one that needs more attention than Joe and Kamala are giving it. 80%. It's nice to see we have common sense in this country. 68% say that signals from Biden's White House are encouraging illegal immigration. 68% of Americans. And 55% believe that former President Donald Trump's policies should have been left in place. That's a nice majority there. That's some huge numbers. Just yesterday, Chief Patrol Agent Brian Hastings tweeted a group of 246 migrants were apprehended in the Rio Grande Valley, including 48 unaccompanied kids. The second largest group of migrants they have seen in the area so far this year. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, working to fund his own border wall for his own state, how ridiculous is that, revised his border crisis declaration to now include 28 counties that have locally declared disasters and agreed to partner with Texas on border security efforts. Other states are now helping Texas because the federal government won't. So you've got states teaming up. The latest is South Dakota and Governor Kristi Noem announcing she's sending 50 National Guard troops to Texas. Now, years ago, 5 years ago now, when Trump came down the escalator to announce he was running for president, he made illegal immigration a central campaign issue. A problem for years on this issue has been both sides refusing to solve it. Republicans and Democrats have been terrible on this for a long time. And it's been astonishing to see how the politics of this issue have evolved. In 1994, not that long ago, really, former President Bill Clinton established Operation Gatekeeper. He tried to cut down on trafficking in San Diego and El Paso. Here's Bill Clinton during his 1995 State of the Union address calling for the deportation of illegal immigrants.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers.
What a racist bigot, right? At some point, that thinking became racist and xenophobic to Democrats. Ridiculous. Biden used to sound just like that, too. Used to sound just like Bill Clinton. Even after Bill Clinton, back in the mid-2000s. We've played his hits plenty of times on this show. It's hysterical to compare to now. But of course, woke Joe Biden, spineless and afraid, even though he's the most powerful person in the world, is now full open border. What he really thinks doesn't matter. The agenda matters. The left agenda matters. Even though most Americans are absolutely not with this at all and are not open borders. Here was former President Donald Trump at his rally on Saturday.
Illegal border crossings are now up 976% since just a short few months ago. When I left office, we gave the new administration the most secure southern border our country had ever seen by far. We need a Republican Congress to shut down the lawless Biden agenda.
Former President Trump heads to Texas tomorrow and will once again tour the border and see pieces of the wall that he tried so hard to get up in its entirety. Unlike Kamala Harris, whose visit was about as phony as her own personality, Trump is actually going to the epicenter of this problem, the Rio Grande sector right near the Gulf of Mexico, and that should be quite a moment.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.